Welcome back to Liz and Sandro's Marketing Podcast. We are the podcast that helps your small business grow through all things digital marketing, including social media, SEO, email marketing, and so much more. Today, Liz is going to go over a few Giving Tuesday takeaways.
That's right. I work with several nonprofits, and I wanted to just share some takeaways from this year's campaigns. For those of you who might be totally out of the loop, Giving Tuesday takes place the Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
In America.
In America, yes. This follows, obviously, Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Giving Tuesday is a chance for Americans to show their support for nonprofit work after they've just spent a bunch of money on themselves. So it is a great cause. It's only been around for a couple years, but it has definitely caught on. We'll get into this, but quite a few social posts and emails flying around on Giving Tuesday. So yeah, I wanted to just share again some takeaways that I had from this year's campaigns. Let's start with email. I think my big takeaway is to send more email. Now, I think you should be mindful of how many touches your subscriber list can handle. And I say this because the nonprofits that I was working with, maybe we're touching their list twice a month. So they were very hesitant to suddenly send 10 emails in the course of, 5 days. But, one of them only sent one email. That just wasn't enough. So although, yes, it's frustrating to have your inbox bombarded, I do think sending more emails is probably the way to go. But keep them focused, keep them targeted. I really think that, and I'll touch a little bit more on this as we go, but I think really concentrating those emails on that Monday, Tuesday, maybe even some follow-up on Wednesday. Don't bother doing anything the week leading up to Thanksgiving. I just think that you're going to get lost in the Black Friday, the Cyber Monday emails. People are cutting out of work early. Sandro, you said one nonprofit that you're a subscriber to sent you how many emails?
3 on that same day.
Yeah.
And the only one I really noticed was the last one at 8 p.m. They said, let's keep it going. We've reached our goal. So they had a match. So anything up to $100,000 was going to be matched. That's the only one I noticed. The rest, it was just like a bulk delete. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, there's one. So.
And in your bulk deletes, were you deleting just some of it was just personal stuff from other retailers, not necessarily Giving Tuesday stuff, right?
Correct. There might have been some Giving Tuesday stuff in there. I don't know. In the
Okay,
morning, you
yeah.
just log in and you see all the stuff in your Google folder saying, what is it called? What's that tab?
See, I don't use the tabs anymore.
That's right.
Because I had important emails getting diverted to the promotions tab, and I said no more of that. So it all comes to one folder.
Okay. So yeah, no, my promotions tab was full and I just didn't even look at anything. Boom. Deleted.
Okay.
So yeah.
Good to know. My second takeaway that I wanted to chat about is to use automation in some form to make sure you get as much as you possibly can. Now, this is going to vary depending on what email system you use or what CRM you're using. But for example, I took a look MailChimp for one of our clients. I logged in and I went to see who actually clicked on that donate button. And I could see the names. I went to our payment processing company, which is Stripe. I can see the reports and I can see who actually donated. Not one of the people that clicked that donate button actually donated to this particular Giving Tuesday campaign. That's not good. That was a missed opportunity on our part to not have some automation set up where people who had either opened or clicked on a campaign to automatically resend the campaign, at a certain time or within 24 hours. I think, again, every email system is going to be a little bit different in terms of what you can and can't do. I'm fairly positive that within MailChimp, you can resend a campaign based on some specific parameters. So I would have set one up to resend on Giving Tuesday everyone who had clicked on that email from the previous day, clicked the donate button. Just on the off chance that they didn't donate. And, again, great data for next year to put some of these automations in place. Shopping cart abandonment is another big thing. Maybe someone selects, I want to donate, at the $50 level, they start filling it out, having second thoughts or get distracted. So having some automation campaigns to help with that, I think, is really important.
A lot of us have 30 tabs open at a time, and we're like, wait, I got to
yeah.
go over to this shiny thing. And so, yeah.
Definitely. The next thing I wanted to chat about was social media. This is where I have in my notes, don't start too early, because I do think your message will get lost in all of the Black Friday and Cyber Monday nonsense. I didn't really see a lot until Cyber Monday. It's probably better to be very focused in the delivery of your social media posts, probably concentrating most of them on Giving Tuesday, putting a few dollars into boosting the post. If you maybe spend 10, 20, $50, but you generate hundreds of dollars in donations, I think that's $50 very well spent. My other takeaway, my team was specifically responsible for the social piece of one of these campaigns. And so we had created several posts, and this is obviously common sense, but maybe it's worth repeating, is really knowing what content your audience likes. We had a post prior to at the actual Giving Tuesday day that did the best. And as I was watching the numbers unfold, I was kind of like, oh, shoot, I wish I had saved that post and that picture for Giving Tuesday because it did so well. And, let me also elaborate on that. All of our Giving Tuesday posts actually did very well. We have some very loyal supporters. We got lots of shares, likes, and comments. All of our Giving Tuesday posts performed phenomenally. But there was one that I wish I had saved for Giving Tuesday, and that's just a reminder for our team to be very strategic when we're scheduling and plotting out what days things are getting scheduled. So, good reminder. A little side note or side chat about Facebook. They were offering a match of up to $7 million, which is great. And they were also, I believe they were handling the payment processing for everything, for nonprofits on Giving Tuesday. One of my clients is not set up to accept donations through Facebook. And it turns out it takes a couple weeks for approval. There's a process. They really want to do their due diligence, which I think is good. So they were not set up to take donations through Facebook on this particular Giving Tuesday. And let me say this, I ultimately do recommend that they get set up to do that, because I think you got to be where people are, and if people are willing to give you 10, 20, $100, that's great. The downside to this is Sandra and I were doing tons of research earlier this week to try to figure out if the nonprofit gets donor info. And Sandra, I think you actually figured this out, right? The nonprofit does not get that info.
Correct. One of my friends runs a nonprofit, and she is approved on Facebook, and they run campaigns there, and they just get quarterly reports on how much was donated, a total amount, but no donor information, no name, no Facebook username, no email address or phone number. That's what she said, unfortunately. But she's happy to get the donations.
Sure.
That's where people are, just like you said.
Yeah, which is good. And yeah, again, I mean, if you can, over the course of a year, raise a couple hundred, couple thousand, I mean, depending on the size of your nonprofit, that could be really helpful. But it goes back to something we have said over and over again. You don't own all the information that you could potentially collect on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. That's not owned by you. So having a subscriber list, a donor list that you know it well, you nurture it, that is so important. So my big thing is, go ahead, get set up to accept donations through Facebook. But I think all of our campaigns should really be pushing them back to our website, our payment processing, where we capture donor info. We can do the follow-up that we want to do.
Yeah, so have it set up so people can make donations there if they want to, but really concentrate your efforts on platforms you own, like your website.
Exactly.
I completely agree. It's totally,
Yeah.
That's a downside to Facebook.
It is a downside. And it's just one of those things you have to weigh whether or not you want to participate.
Just a side note, I have donated from friends' birthday campaigns, and I always click anonymous, But then like the next time I see them, they're like, oh, thank you so much for donating. I was like, wait, I was supposed to be anonymous.
So your friend, if it's a personal
that's
fundraising
personal one,
campaign, the friend can see. Yeah, so that's interesting.
And on a side note, I'd just like to say we ran ads on Cyber Monday for cyber sales, online sales only. And so I get it running ads, boosting posts on Giving Tuesday and boosting posts or running ads on Cyber Monday. I just want to say ads were expensive as heck on Cyber Monday on Facebook. It seems like everybody was running an ad and it was just less clicks, too much fatigue.
Ad overload.
Yeah, your inbox was full of things. It was just insane. So I'm going to recommend to our clients that we do not spend any money on Facebook ads next year's Cyber Monday, but keep doing the emails. The emails, I think the emails worked. I'm not in charge of the emails, but maybe consider doing a different day, maybe someday in December, a flash sale on a day no one expects it.
Or a end of year giving campaign that kicks off December 15th and runs for 15 days, which again, you're going to have some overlap with the holidays in general. So maybe you run it December 26th through the 31st. I mean, you have options.
Yeah, for charities, you could talk about end of year tax write-offs.
Yeah.
So you got 1 week left. But for-profit businesses, for-profit sales, you may want to consider taking Cyber Monday off and
Sure.
just consider your email campaigns and consider other things because, I told this story to Liz. I'll tell it really quickly. My best friend in college grew up in the deep, deep South, but they loved the rodeo. His family loved the rodeo. They took him one day, and he was a little kid, and the rodeo invited all the kids to come down to the big oval down at the middle of the rodeo, and they were going to let loose a little baby goat with a $20 bill attached to it. And the goat was going to be let loose, and the kids would chase it, and whoever got the $20 bill got to keep the $20 bill. Well, my buddy, his dad grabbed him and said, go down to the other end of the oval of the rodeo, at the other end where nobody's standing, and just wait there. And sure enough, they let the goat free, and the goat got scared and freaked out and started running away from the kids, and the kids were chasing it, and the goat ran straight to the other end where my buddy was. And all by himself, 8 years old, picked off the $20 bill very easily. So to me, that's a life lesson to say, go where your competitors aren't. There's 100 kids down there competing for that $20 bill and that goat, and you are on the other end where those competitors are not. So all your competitors are there on Cyber Monday, on Giving Tuesday, advertising, driving up the price, lots of demand, and so maybe consider a different day is all I'm saying. So I'm a little down on that.
We always talk about being where everyone is, which is, I think still very relevant. But yes, sometimes maybe think outside the box a little bit.
Competitors aren't.
Yes. Yeah.
So I get it. Maybe you didn't get as many clicks as you wanted to from the Facebook ad because it was just crazy competitive. Thank you, Liz, for this information, this feedback, and thanks to you for listening. If you're a nonprofit, you want to share your story, we'd love to hear it. If you have a question, we'd love to hear it. We'll give you a shout out and a link back to your site. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll also leave our email address in the show notes. If you like what you hear, we'd love a review. You'll find us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and many other places. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.